Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest lessons in life is understanding that true help must empower, not enslave. Too often, we believe that helping someone means doing everything for them, rescuing them from every difficulty, or carrying them when they refuse to walk. But real love, real compassion, is not about removing someone's responsibility. It is about awakening their ability. When you help someone correctly, you ignite their inner fire, not replace it with your own. You teach them how to stand tall, not lean on you forever. True help lifts a person's capacity to think, act, and decide for themselves. It never replaces their willpower with dependency. Every human being has a gift inside, a measure of strength and wisdom given by life itself. But many people refuse to develop it. They seek others to be their crutches, instead of building their own legs. When you constantly carry someone who has the ability to walk, you make them weaker. You train them to depend on you, not on their inner potential. And eventually, they begin to believe they cannot survive without your presence. That, my friends, is not help. That is imprisonment disguised as kindness. There is a difference between assistance and rescue. Assistance says, I'll walk with you until you learn to walk. Rescue says, I'll walk for you because you can't. The first builds strength, the second destroys it. Every time you do for others what they refuse to do for themselves, you steal from them the opportunity to grow. Growth only happens in responsibility, and when people are denied that, they remain children in adult bodies, waiting for someone else to live life on their behalf. If you want to truly help someone, don't feed their weakness, feed their will. Don't make them comfortable in their helplessness. Remind them of their power. There is greatness inside every person, but it cannot be awakened through pity. It must be challenged into existence. Sometimes, the best help you can give is to step back and let them face life. Pain becomes a teacher when comfort is removed. Challenges produce wisdom when escape is no longer an option. So, guard your compassion with discernment. Ask yourself, is my help creating growth or dependency? Is my kindness building a future or maintaining a cycle? Real love sometimes says, no. Real care sometimes walks away so that the other person may find their own legs. Do not confuse saving with serving. When you save everyone, you may lose yourself, and they may lose their strength. Helping others is noble, but it must be guided by truth. Empowerment is the goal. You are called not to make others weaker through your help, but stronger through your presence. True help gives wings, not chains. True love says, I believe in you enough to let you try. And when people rise on their own, that is when your help has truly worked. Ladies and gentlemen, compassion is a powerful force, but without discernment, it becomes dangerous. Many people think that being kind means saying yes to every cry for help, every tear, and every emotional story. But wisdom teaches us that not every person who asks for help truly desires change. Some people seek comfort, not transformation. They want relief from pain, not the responsibility that comes with healing. And when you offer help without discernment, your compassion can easily become the very tool that keeps them trapped in their dysfunction. Discernment means seeing beyond the words people speak. It means reading the intentions of the heart. Some will cry for help only to pull you into their chaos, not to climb out of it. They love attention more than they love progress. They are addicted to sympathy because it makes them feel important in their suffering. You can pour your energy, your advice, and your resources into them, yet they remain the same because their desire is not for freedom. It's for validation. That's why compassion must be balanced by wisdom. Compassion gives from the heart, but wisdom asks from the spirit. Will this person use what I'm giving to rise, or will they use it to remain where they are? A true compassion is not blind. It is guided by truth. When you act out of emotion alone, you may end up supporting the very thing that destroys a person's potential. You might think you're healing them, but you're actually enabling their excuses. Some people use their pain as protection from accountability. They hide behind their story so they never have to change it. You can't help a person who uses their wounds as weapons against growth until they choose to see themselves as more than their suffering. Your help will only strengthen their self-pity. Discernment teaches you to pause before you give. It tells you to look beyond the surface, to see whether someone's cry is born of desperation for change or a desire for dependency. Even in the deepest compassion, you must be wise enough to say, I will not invest where growth is rejected. You must learn that helping someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own life is like pouring water into a basket. It never fills. Wisdom teaches that not everyone deserves your rescue. Some people need to experience the weight of their own choices before they can value freedom. You can offer a hand, but if they won't take it with the intention to climb, you must let them be. Discernment guards your heart from exhaustion. It protects your purpose from distraction. So, before you move with emotion, pause and listen with understanding. For compassion without wisdom is like light without direction. It shines brightly but blinds the one who holds it. Ladies and gentlemen, there are people who live in prisons without bars, prisons built not by others, but by their own comfort. These are the prisoners of comfort. They refuse to grow, not because they lack ability, but because growth demands discomfort. They prefer the safety of familiarity over the adventure of transformation. And when you try to help them, you often discover that they don't truly want freedom. They want ease. They want results without responsibility, change without challenge, and progress without pain. Helping such people only strengthens the walls of their comfort zone, making their prison more secure and harder to leave. Comfort is deceptive. It feels peaceful, but it quietly kills potential. It makes you satisfied with less than what you were created for. It whispers, "You're fine where you are," even when your soul knows you were meant for more. When you help someone who refuses to leave their comfort zone, you are feeding their illusion that comfort is success. You become their security blanket, not their motivation. You begin to carry their destiny while they enjoy the ease of your effort. This is why you must be wise in offering help, because sometimes your help becomes their hindrance. Growth demands stretching, and stretching demands discomfort. No one matures without pain. The seed must break before it grows. The butterfly must struggle before it flies. If you remove the struggle, you remove the strength. When you help someone avoid every difficulty, you rob them of their chance to develop resilience. You take away the very pressure that would have revealed their power. Life's greatest lessons are learned through challenge, not comfort. You can never empower a person who is determined to stay safe. Many people pray for success, but resist the process that creates it. They want destiny to visit their comfort zone. But destiny never comes to comfort. It calls you out of it. The role of a wise helper is not to make someone comfortable where they are, but to awaken their hunger for more. You can show them the door, but you cannot walk through it for them. You can inspire them, but you cannot decide for them. When a person chooses comfort over growth, they choose stagnation over transformation. So, do not waste your strength trying to push people who refuse to move. Some must face the discomfort of their own choices before they awaken. Sometimes love must allow people to sit in the discomfort of consequences until they recognize that comfort is a trap. True help is not about making life easier. It is about making life purposeful. And until a person values growth more than comfort, every help you give will only deepen their slumber. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most draining experiences in life is trying to help a person who is addicted to excuses. These are individuals who have an answer for every failure, a reason for every delay, and a justification for every wasted opportunity. They are not searching for solutions, they are searching for sympathy. They wear their problems like medals of identity, using them to attract attention and pity. When you meet them, They will always tell you why life is unfair, why people are against them, and why they cannot move forward. Their words sound convincing, but their hearts are closed to change. They are more committed to defending their weakness than discovering their strength. You must understand that excuses are the language of stagnation. They are the walls people build to protect themselves from accountability. Excuses allow a person to remain comfortable while pretending to be helpless. They blame circumstances, parents, government, friends, or fate, but never themselves. And when you attempt to help them, they do not take your advice seriously. Instead, they use your compassion as fuel for more excuses. I tried, but it didn't work. You don't understand my pain. It's easy for you to say. These are not cries for help. They are declarations of surrender. Helping a person who lives on excuses is like filling a leaking bucket. No matter how much wisdom, time, or love you pour in, it will never stay. Because the problem is not the absence of opportunity, it is the absence of responsibility. Until a person accepts that their life is in their own hands, no amount of help can lift them higher. Excuses protect the ego but destroy the future. They keep a person safe from failure, but they also keep them far from success. If you truly desire to make a difference in someone's life, do not empower their excuses. Challenge them. Refuse to agree with their limitations. Refuse to comfort their laziness. Real love tells the truth even when it hurts. Tell them, you are not stuck, you are just afraid. Tell them, your life will change the moment you decide to take ownership. It may offend them for a moment, but it can awaken them for a lifetime. The greatest gift you can give to someone addicted to excuses is the mirror of reality. Remember, you cannot carry a person who refuses to walk. Your energy is sacred. Your purpose is precious. Do not waste it trying to convince someone who is determined to stay small. When you rescue the unready, you drain your own strength. Leave them with truth, not pity. Excuses are the chains of the mind, and only the one who forged them can break them. Until they choose to do so, your help is merely noise in the background of their comfort. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a kind of person who does not simply reject advice. They resist truth itself. These are the resistors of truth. They hear wisdom, but it offends them. They see light, but it exposes their darkness, so they close their eyes and call it blindness. You can speak with clarity, show them the facts, present evidence, even pour your heart out in sincerity, yet they will argue not because you are wrong, but because they are unwilling to be right. The truth demands change, and change demands humility, but pride builds walls where truth needs doors. When you try to help a person who resists truth, you are planting seeds on stone. Nothing will ever grow there. Truth is not always comfortable. It often cuts deep before it heals. It challenges what people have believed for years. It shakes their false identities. And it confronts the lies they've built their lives upon. Some people cannot handle the confrontation. They would rather stay in deception than endure the pain of awakening. And when you bring them truth, they attack the messenger instead of confronting the message. They call you judgmental, insensitive, or arrogant, all to defend their comfort with ignorance. These are people who do not seek growth. They seek validation. They want to feel right, not become right. You must understand that truth is not something you can force upon someone. It is something a person must choose to receive. You can expose them to light, but you cannot make them open their eyes. Until the heart is ready, truth will always sound like criticism. That is why trying to help such people drains your energy and disturbs your peace. They are not looking for direction, they are looking for agreement. And when you stop agreeing with their illusions, they label you as the enemy. Helping someone who resists truth is like trying to wake a person who pretends to sleep. No amount of shaking will make a difference because their blindness is not physical. It is voluntary. Sometimes you must walk away and let life teach what your words could not. Experience is the greatest teacher for the stubborn heart. Pain becomes the language that wisdom speaks when truth is ignored. So, protect your peace. Speak truth with love, but do not beg to be heard. Offer your wisdom once, then step back and let silence do the work. Some lessons can only be learned through loss. Do not allow their resistance to drain your purpose. Remember, your duty is to deliver truth, not to force transformation. Truth is a seed. Once planted, it will grow in its own season. Let life water it and time reveal it. You cannot help those who fight the very thing that can set them free. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest challenges you will face in life is protecting your purpose from people who drain your energy, but never value your presence. These are the drainers of purpose, those who take your time, your peace, and your strength, but offer nothing in return. They come into your life appearing needy, but what they truly seek is not help, it is attention. They attach themselves to your compassion like vines wrapping around a tree, feeding on your energy while slowing your growth. The more you give, the more they take, and the emptier you become. These are emotional thieves who disguise themselves as friends, family, or even mentees, yet their presence constantly pulls you away from your destiny. Your time and energy are sacred gifts. You were created with a purpose that demands focus, clarity, and strength. When you allow the wrong people constant access to your life, you end up spending your energy managing their emotions instead of pursuing your mission. You begin to live in reaction instead of intention. Every day spent trying to please ungrateful hearts is a day stolen from your own growth. Some people will never change, not because they cannot, but because draining others makes them feel powerful. They take from your spirit to fill the emptiness in theirs. You must learn to recognize the signs of those who drain your purpose. They never listen but always complain. They want advice but never apply it. They create drama and expect you to fix it. When you succeed, they minimize your achievements. When you rest, they call you selfish. When you try to walk away, they play the victim. And if you continue to feed their behavior, you become their silent prisoner, trapped by your own kindness. That is why wisdom teaches you to guard your peace as you would guard your treasure. Helping others is noble, but when it costs you your clarity, it is no longer help, it is self-sabotage. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot heal others while neglecting your own soul. Sometimes love must draw a line. It says, I care about you, but I will not allow you to destroy my focus. Walking away does not mean you stopped loving. It means you started understanding. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is sacred stewardship of your destiny. So, separate yourself from those who drain your light and refuse to shine their own. Spend your time with people who challenge you to grow, not those who demand you to shrink. Be around those who feed your vision, not those who feed on your peace. The people you surround yourself with determine how far you rise. Remember this truth, not everyone deserves access to your energy. You are not everyone's savior, you are a steward of your purpose. Guard it with wisdom, and your light will never dim. Ladies and gentlemen, every act of help is a seed, and every seed must be planted in the right soil to bear fruit. You can have the purest intentions, the greatest wisdom, and the deepest compassion, but if you plant your help in the wrong heart, it will never produce growth. There are people whose minds are hard ground, resistant to learning, unwilling to change, and incapable of receiving correction. When you pour your energy into them, you are not cultivating growth, you are wasting potential. Just as a farmer studies the soil before sowing his seed, you too must discern where your help will multiply and where it will die. Life operates by a simple principle. Every gift, every word, every effort must have a place to grow. When you keep giving to those who do not value what they receive, you dishonor your own purpose. Some people do not lack opportunity. They lack appreciation. They are quick to take but slow to transform. They turn your encouragement into dependency and your effort into entitlement. And while you are trying to raise them up, they are pulling you down. You cannot bless people who are committed to remaining broken. Until they decide to change, your help will only sustain their weakness. The wise understand that not every need is a calling. Just because you see someone struggling does not mean you are assigned to rescue them. Some people need to face the consequences of their choices to awaken their own strength. When you step in too early, you interrupt their process of learning. Every person must bear a certain weight to develop character. When you carry it for them, you rob them of that strength. Real growth comes when pain meets purpose, when struggle meets wisdom, and when the soul learns through experience. Guard your seed of help. Don't scatter it where gossip replaces gratitude. Don't invest it in people who only remember you when they are in crisis. The right people will treasure your guidance, act upon it, and multiply what you give. The wrong ones will ignore your counsel and return to the same patterns. Your time, energy, and wisdom are divine resources. You are a steward, not a slave to the needs of others. Choose wisely where you sow them. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to stop helping. Let life be their teacher. Let experience become their guide. There is power in allowing people to walk their own path, even if that path includes pain, because pain has a way of teaching what comfort cannot. When they are ready, your words will return to them like seeds that finally found good soil. So keep your heart open, but keep your discernment sharper. Sow where growth is possible, not where comfort is worshipped. For the seed of help is holy, and it must never be wasted on barren ground.